on the main stage, we have our final speaker. And she is a real female powerhouse. And she's pushing the boundaries of mobility and transportation. So Nova, please, can you announce who is our lovely lady?
Zero, all the way. That's our next speaker's mission. It's their moonshot, a truly climate-neutral production by 2030. From conception all the way to customer delivery. Many consider it impossible. They dare to be different. And by 2030, they intend to make it actually happen. Zero will mean zero without offsetting. They will eliminate, not reduce. Please welcome Lies Eeckman, Managing Director at Polestar.
Good evening, everybody. Can't see you well. I see that I'm in big competition with the bar, unfortunately, at this very late hour. So please stand up, just to let the blood rush through your veins. It has been already a long evening. Just stand up, stand up. Come on, guys. Are you still awake? Yeah? Okay. Because I will have quite an astonishing story to tell. Who knows Polestar? Please stand up, or remain stand up. Wow, that's quite impressive. 1 out of 2 Belgians knows Polestar. I think we are here about 80–90%. So what a great start of a lovely evening. I'm Lies Eeckman, I'm the head of Polestar, and I joined Polestar 3.5 years ago, really at the birth of our company. And what a journey it has been. We are creating a new brand, a new electric performance company, more than just a car company. We are offering a route to circularity. We are offering a road for a better future of tomorrow. And we cannot do that on our own. And that's why I'm so delighted that the generation of today and tomorrow is here united in one room. So big applause for yourself, because you are the future. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm really grateful that you want to listen to our story. Another question for you, because I'm not the only one that needs to work tonight, right? What would you do if you read this sign? What do? Shout. I don't hear a lot of shouting, though. What is a natural reaction if you read this sign? Stop. Indeed, you stop because you do not want to hit that fucking bridge, right? Unfortunately, we're not doing exactly the same when it comes to climate change. Everybody sees the signs. The weather, it's hot when it needs to be cold, it's cold when it needs to be hot. Countries are flooding all over the world, but yet we don't stop. On the contrary, already since the late 70s, we know exactly what is going to happen with our planet. All the alarm bells started going off since late 70s, and yet we continue. We continue at very high speed. This is not okay. This is really not okay, because we only have one planet, right? And if you guys want to have a future and your children want to have a future, it's our responsibility to take care of it. We see today the very first signs of climate heating. But unfortunately, it has nothing, not even a single millimeter compared with what is ahead of us if we do not act. And we need to act right now. And we have here a magnificent room full of talented people, ready to start your own business, being an entrepreneur. I can guarantee you, your business, our business, will only be commercially viable if you put sustainability in the core of your strategy. Sustainability is not just a fancy word. Sustainability is not just a fancy option. It should be embedded in your DNA. Otherwise, our planet is not viable, but our companies and our businesses neither. Why did I join a car company? You could question that. I worked for 20 years for Nestlé, for Heineken, fast-moving consumer goods. And yet, about 5 years ago, I decided to go into the automotive industry. Why? Because I want to have a damn positive impact. If you look to this chart behind me, energy and transport accounts for about 70%, 70% of total emission of greenhouse gases, the #1 reason of climate heating. 15% of it, of the pollution, is generated by cars. 15% of it is generated by private mobility. So if I look at it from a negative way, I should be run off this stage, right, and hide and shy away. But no, because I'm an optimist. And being an optimist, and when you flip the coin and you look at it from a different angle, it also means that we can have a huge, big, positive impact. It's a true opportunity, on the condition that we act in an appropriate way. And guess what? That's definitely not by continuing to produce petrol and diesel cars until 2050. So our industry needs to acknowledge that we need to reinvent ourselves. And unfortunately, I think you all have heard about the Paris Agreement and that the European Commission wanted to stop petrol and diesel cars by 2035. Unfortunately, Germany, as a country, they decided to not vote for this law. Why? Because of the German lobbying of the automotive industry. So not exactly the right start what you would expect. Sometimes change is forced, but sometimes you or we need to force the change. When you look to the very recent global pandemic, of which we all have suffered so damn hard, there was also a beauty of it. If you look to the pharmaceutical world, normally it takes about 8 years to produce an effective vaccine. Guess what? They ruled everything out, what they have known before, and they reinvented themselves. They started to collaborate. They started to collect and put all the brain power of the world together. And guess what? Guess what? 8 months' time, they were able to develop an effective vaccine to beat this pandemic. So it proves that if we put our collective power together, that you can create miracles. And that's exactly what we want to do. Polestar is a small company. We are only existing for 5 years. But we dream big. We want to challenge our industry to reinvent itself. Our only reason to exist is to create a better society by accelerating the shift towards a more sustainable mobility, a circular mobility, and developing a circular economy. And the attitude that we use for this, or that we call, is we say goodbye to normal. No compromises, indeed, because we simply cannot afford it. If we look at the current trajectory on which we are and the current speed that we have, we will overshoot the targets of the Paris Agreement that to stay within the 1.5 degree big time. We will overshoot that target by 75%. 75%. So this is not okay. The European Commission, they committed themselves to stay within that 1.5 degree by 2050. For Polestar, this is clearly too little, too late. By 2040, we want to be a fully climate-neutral company. And by 2030, we want to build our first climate-neutral car with zero impact on our climate. And that's why we have launched a new initiative. Because we don't like blah blah, as you have seen. We want less talk and more action. So we created a project that we called the Pathway Report. And it's a joint collaboration with Kini, which is a neutral, objective sustainability company. And there is only one EV company that signed up for it, which is Rivian. And Rivian is an American electric EV company. And this report has only the objective to find a common alignment on where our industry, one, stands today. We know where we need to go to and how to achieve it. That's the big question mark. So this report shows clearly how and what we should do to get to zero. Now, the road to zero is long, but it's not impossible. Now, there are 3 levers, 3 important drivers that needs to be realized to stay within the target. First is that all cars should shift to 100% EV, because you will see later on that EVs are a scalable solution for the climate. Unfortunately, only EVs is not enough. All those EVs, electric vehicles, they need to be charged with 100% green energy. And even that is not enough. The last lever is how the car is manufactured, is the supply chain. And we need to decarbonize the supply chain by 2032, so that's not far away, with 82%. And it's not enough, unfortunately, to pull one of these levers. We need to pull the 3 levers very hard, all at the same time. So this is a pretty serious business, right? The thing is, there is little time. But the good news is that there is still time. And actually, we are really the exception. And that's then the pity side of the story, let's say, because a lot of car manufacturers are now focused and they start to build EVs, right? Contrary to all the other brands, we are doing 1 and 2, but we are especially focused on the 3rd lever. That's why we have created the Polestar Zero project. So we are completely rethinking our business model. We are completely rethinking the way we engineer a car. We have put ourselves the moonshot goal to produce a car with 0 impact by 2030. And never zero has meant so much. And this is where future entrepreneurship comes into play. If you make, or if you take the lead on change tomorrow in your own businesses, you will have to overcome many obstacles. You will have to overcome the no-sayers that say that it can't be done. You will have to overcome the critics, because it's always way more easy to criticize. You will need to look beyond the limitations of today and be focused on a better tomorrow. So it will require courage. But many of the great achievements in history are realized by people that stood up, that showed that courage to drive the change.
It's not going to be easy. Cynics may say that we're naive and unrealistic, doubters that we're wasting our time.
Face yet another setback in the
But unless we look beyond the limitations of today, we will never be able to create a better tomorrow. Sometimes change is forced, and sometimes we need to force change. That's why we should never stop challenging ourselves, challenging others, leading wisely and following the wiser. Keep moving forward, even when the goal seems impossible.
We have a duty to humanity.
Because many of the world's greatest achievements exist because some people stood in front of an obstacle and turned it into an opportunity.
Science might be defined as the art of the impossible.
Achieving the impossible isn't easy. But here's our try.
So we acknowledge it's indeed not easy, but we have passion, we have courage, and so we believe if you combine these 2 attitudes, everything is possible. Now, why is it such a big challenge? You have 1 Polestar. But to build 1 Polestar, it requires 200 different suppliers. Those 200 different suppliers, they deliver, each of them, more than 2,000 different deliveries. And in those more than 2,000 deliveries, there are sitting more than 50,000 different components. More than 50,000 different components that all need to be produced, delivered, transported in a way with 0 impact on the climate. So that's why it's so difficult. Because none of these items today are already with 0 impact. So we realized very quickly in this project that actually the challenge is way too big, that time is way too limited. So we could have done two things. Or we could have just said stop, like the bridge, but no, it's not possible. Or we rethink the whole process. And that's where collaboration comes into play. Again, a strong feature of future entrepreneurship. It's not about us. It's not about Polestar. It's about us as a community working together, uniting for change. And so, what we did is we launched an open invitation to the world. We did a reach out for collaboration. And after 1 year, I'm really, really proud that we already have 28 companies that stand behind the Project Zero, that believe that it can be done. So this is amazing, guys. I really get goosebumps when I'm standing here right now telling you this story. There are no no-sayers on the screen. Those companies are maybe you. Future entrepreneurs that believe that great things can be achieved if we just work together on different domains. We are working on all the different aspects, all at the same time. And this requires courage. This requires a whole new way of business. It has never been done before at such a huge scale. Now that's all nice, you know, and that's what drives us every single day. We are not selling cars. We are working on a better tomorrow. But that tomorrow is 2030 for us. And unfortunately, the clock is ticking. And every single day that we lose is a day where it becomes way more difficult to get to the 2050 target. So that's why we need to work every single day, as of today, working on solutions, step by step, towards zero. Staying true to our core values of Polestar, to our DNA, which is pure progressive performance, because we are a progressive tech company. We're not a simply car manufacturer. We are a tech company that wants to create a better world. Now, if you want to lead change, one very good advice I can give you is be transparent. Be open, be honest. Admit that we're not perfect. We're not there yet. We need to agree on the methodology and how to measure it to get to zero. And that's why we have created the life cycle analysis. When I say we are a tech company, we measure what we care about. And so what we do is we know exactly on the whole life cycle of the car, from when the car is born until the end of its life cycle, how much CO2 we produce, we emit. And we share that in full transparency. You can even find the full report on our website, polestar.com. And you can even find the whole methodology on how we calculate our CO2 emissions. Because we see it as an open invitation to our competitors, between brackets. You know what you need to compete on, and you know the bigger goods. And we share it. And when you see these numbers, is that EVs today emits less than half of a petrol car of the same size and weight. We are, by the way, a sister company of Volvo, so that's why I can show the comparison with Volvo. But even today, a Polestar 2, when charged green, and that's important, it's the second lever, remember, emits less than half of a petrol car. So we literally already drive the change every single day. But when we say zero, we literally means zero. And it's important that we explain what we measure and how we measure it. Because you have two different numbers, two different criteria. You have from cradle to gate, means when the car leaves the factory, or you have from cradle to grave, including the use phase of the car and including the end of life cycle. So when he needs to be recycled. And that we want to aim with zero impact. Now, by being open about the impact we have, we also know that batteries are one of the most polluting elements in our car. And probably that's also what you have been wondering, yeah, but is it truly better than an EV? Yes, it is, because we showed it you just the slide before. Are we happy with the 27 tons? No, of course not, of course not. So that's why step by step we are progressing. And one of the very important elements is that we trace the risk materials. And the risk materials are actually the rare earth minerals that we extract from the earth. And today we use, together with Circular, we use blockchain technology. And the previous speaker already explained what blockchain is, so I don't need to do that, that's easy. So we use blockchain technology to make sure that the minerals that we extract from the earth are extracted in an ecological way, but also in an ethical way. And talking about sustainability, inclusion is also key. Because often these risk materials, you can find them in risk areas where there is often war or where people are discriminated or not treated well, or where child labor is even used. So thanks to blockchain technology, we can source our minerals back to the mine. And we can be, with our hands on our heart, be sure that all the minerals we use in our cars are sourced in an ecological and ethical way. And we are really proud of that. The second biggest chunk of pollution is the interior of the car. Is when everything which you can touch and feel, and the seats. And for example, a Polestar 2 today is already 100% vegan, but also that is not enough. With the new cars that are upcoming, 3, 4, 5, we even go many steps further. For example, we use flax, a natural component. Where is the movie now? I go back. Yeah, can I play it again? Yes, I can. So flax, which are natural fibers, produced also often in Belgium. We are pretty strong as a country in this, to create the door panels. We use recycled fishing nets for our carpets. We use recycled wine corks for the interior. Even our wool and our leather that we use is traced. So we really are very passionate and very focused to strive for, today, 85% of recycled materials in our cars. And we are proud of it. We even print it on the seats of our car. We wear it as a kind of label of honor. And also our customers that drive Polestar today, that choose for Polestar, they are proud to show that they are part of a bigger movement. that they do care about our planet without compromising on the quality or the comfort or the design of our cars. Now, when we put all these actions into place, it pays off. So we are a very young company, but since our start in 2020, when we put the first cars on the road, we already emit 13% of CO2 less than in 2020, which represents 1.7 tons per car of CO2 less. And today, we already use 85% of recycled materials in Polestar 1 and 2. And it will only go up with 3, 4, and 5, and 6. We do not stop with our cars. Luckily, more and more Belgians choose also for renewable energy. And you know how, or you have seen how important that is. A lot of Belgians, they do invest in solar panels. Also, a lot of companies, they do invest in solar panels. But unfortunately, the weakness of the ecosystem today is that that energy, that green, very careful energy, we cannot store it. And so as of Polestar 3, we will be ready with Vehicle 2X. Means that the car will be your home battery. It's a battery of 110 kilowatts. You can imagine that a regular home battery that is on the market today is between 5 and 8 kilowatts. So it's 15 times bigger than the tools that are available today. So it means that you will be able to store all your green energy on the battery of your car. And then, of course, more importantly, that you can give back that energy to your house, to warm your house, to do the cooking, to do the dishwashes, everything with the green energy that you have stored on the battery of your car. So we go beyond our cars. And actually, I want to conclude, because I think it's time for a beer within a couple of minutes. But to conclude, because it's great to have great products. You know, we have the best R&D people in the world. We have the best partners in the world. But the true difference is made by my team. And I have Femke here in the room, together with Renault. They supported me with this fantastic presentation, so a big applause for them, please. Thank you. What truly makes the difference is the people. We hire for attitude. And by the way, we are hiring, so if you, after this speech, feel passionate about Polestar and about our mission, just have a beer together with me on the bar. Everything starts with passion. When you will look for your own business, please do it in a passion field. Because passion is what really, really makes a difference. You need to get up out of bed with a big smile in the morning and get into the bed late at night because you have worked damn hard, but you feel so good about it. Passion. Courage. Very, very important. When you found your new business and you want to lead the change, you will need to show courage. You will need to make sure that you do not hit that bridge. You will need to go off the beaten track. And if you do that in a transparent way. Be open. Dare to show also your vulnerability. Dare to say, I have a great idea, and you know what? I do not know exactly whether I will make it happen. But just say it in a transparent, open, and honest way. And last but not least, future thinking. I think the team of the conference of the last 2 days. Future thinking is everything about innovation, constantly seeking for new ways, new opportunities, and have the mindset that for every problem, a solution can be found. So everyone can show an entrepreneurial mindset. And the fact that you were here with me tonight until, what is it, almost 11 o'clock, showcases that you deserve to be the entrepreneurs of the future. Many thanks.